Hey guys, Luke here again, back on the side trail. So today we're in our beautiful backyard here in Alaska. We're gonna go check out some of the flora here, some of the plants, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm gonna see some edible plants, show you guys some of those. I'm gonna try to eat them myself, give you some feedback on those. And then we're gonna check out some plants that have some pretty cool heritage here in Alaska. And then we're gonna check out the bad, those poisonous plants that you definitely don't wanna eat. Try to avoid those guys. So yeah, come along, let's see what I can find to eat. Spot some watermelon berries over there. Now, this is a great plant because you can eat the berries and the leaves, and I'm gonna go give it a shot. Come on. So these nice red, kind of purplish berries are watermelon berries. Now, these guys are aptly named. They do sort of taste like watermelon, but they're kind of like if watermelon had a baby with a tomato. And you look, they kind of look like a cherry tomato. They've got a ton of water and seeds inside of them, so if you squeeze them, they got all those good juices right there. And definitely a lot of seeds, so they have a texture very similar to a tomato. So when you bite into them, be aware of that. But they are pretty tasty. I'm gonna go ahead and try one of these bad boys for you. Yeah, not half bad. Kind of tastes like watermelon, actually. Shocking. Also a little on the tomatoey side. Yeah, but not half bad. Pretty good. Typically you eat the new budded leaves off of these, so I'm gonna try to eat something towards the edge. These have been on this plant for a while, obviously, but I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot. People add these to salads. Yeah, apparently they make good salad toppers, but taste the little crunchy leaves. I'm gonna give them a shot. I'm hoping they're better when they're newly formed leaves, because they are not that great right now. The berries definitely taste better than the leaves, but they are both edible. I'm gonna try to go through this alder. It's not going to happen. They're really thick. Oh my goodness. This is like, I have a love-hate relationship with this plant. Oh dear Lord. I'm just gonna shift this way. A little bit of shifty shift this way. Limbering. I can do this. Wow. This is like harder than it looks. So this lovely beast is Alder. You will find this all over Alaska. It's actually part of the reason Alaska has remained as wild as it has. Because as I just demonstrated, walking through one of these plants is basically impossible. And there are large swaths of alder all over the state. Now, what alder is good for is smoking things. It's got a very aromatic smoke. Natives of Alaska have been using alder to smoke fish and other meats for thousands of years. Now, what I have used alder for in the past is actually smoking a turkey. A friend of mine is big into smoking, and one of the Thanksgivings we had up here, we actually smoked a turkey using alder that we went out and cut ourselves. And what we did was we went ahead and found nice big alder stalks, kind of like this guy right over here, about like that, maybe a little thicker. And then you strip the bark off of it and you cut it into little briquettes, and then you add those briquettes to your coals, and it creates this lovely aromatic smoke, giving whatever meat you're smoking, ours was turkey, but it could be salmon, a very, very nice aromatic flavor. But I don't suggest walking through this stuff, because it will take you all day long. I gotta get out of here. Woo! I made it. As you can see up here in the alpine, and this is pretty common in Alaska in general, is we have this sort of mat, which is called loam. Now, loam is sort of just this interspersing of a bunch of different types of plants. And so when you're looking through this loam, you can see that there's quite a few varieties of plants, quite a few different types of plants. So what we've got here, we've got like dwarf birch, which is a deciduous shrub. We have Sitka burnet, which is a forb. This is called dogwood or bunchberry, which is a forb. There's a little bit of blueberries mixed in there. Those aren't quite ripe yet, but that's a deciduous shrub. And then we've got crowberry here, which is an evergreen shrub. And there's a grass growing straight up out of the middle there. and we got some sedges intermixed over here. So we have pretty much all of our plant types right here in one spot. This is a great spot to find berries anytime you're out looking for edible plants. Another alpine berry here. This one's pretty famous. These are low bush or mountain cranberries. Another common name for these are lingonberries, and they are very, very popular. People make them into syrups and jams. They're very common in Scandinavian food, but I love lingonberry jam. I love lingonberry pretty much everything. But I've never actually eaten these berries out on the alpine slope, so I'm gonna give them a shot. I'm hoping they'll be as tasty as the jam or the syrups are, but we'll see. Wow, yeah, actually those are pretty good. Pleasantly surprised, yeah. I can definitely see why I like the jams and the syrups. Yeah, definitely approve of low bush cranberry, AKA the lingonberry. Very, very good. I gotta find some more of those. All right, guys, so I'm sitting here amongst the bad boys. Now, this is the bad of the good and bad of the ugly that I mentioned earlier. Now, there are two very poisonous plants in front of me. One is a little bit more poisonous than the other. First one I'm gonna talk about right here is the one that has this purple flower. Now, some have called this navy blue. I'm gonna call it purple. And they have this flower that has the shape of a helmet. So they look like a little bit of helmet right there. And that's how you tell this flower. Now, this flower's name is monk's hood. I also think it kind of looks like a hood, so that's the way I remember this flower. But the archaic name for this is wolfbane. And this is actually a very, very old poison going back to the Middle Ages. And they used to use this while baiting wolves. They would lace the meat with this particular flower and use it to poison wolves. And so they call it wolfbane. Now, guys, this is one that you definitely don't want to eat. I wouldn't go anywhere near this plant. Now, this plant is highly poisonous. This is called false Helibor. Now, if you were to eat this, or if I were to eat this right now, it would cause vomiting, paralysis, and death. That's right, I would be paralyzed and I would die right here on this mountain. So I'm definitely not gonna eat this plant. A couple of the defining features of this plant, it's very large, so it's pretty easy to identify, but it's got these big ovate leaves, and it has very, very clear linear veins in the leaves. So I see this plant, I'm gonna stay away from it, so I'm definitely not gonna eat this one, but let's go find something that I can actually eat. All right, guys, I'm standing here with common fireweed. This is one of our most common plants here in Alaska. These guys can grow really, really tall. They grow across the state. The tallest ones I've heard about are on the Kenai Peninsula, and it turns out they can grow over 7 feet tall. You believe that? That's taller than me. Now, these are edible, and the locals use them for a variety of things. You'll see them around town. They make jelly, honey. I've seen fireweed vodka, fireweed gin, and there's a couple local ice cream shops that actually have fireweed ice cream, but I'm pretty sure they just use the honey to make that. But it's pretty darn tasty. And it's got this really great pink color that you can see right there in those flowers. Now, the parts of a fireweed that are edible are the leaves and the stem. Fireweed are in the group known as forbs, which are herbaceous shrubs, so they don't have a woody stem, but they've got these nice big leaves. You see I'm holding one here in my hand. And another way you can identify plants is by the shape of the leaf. Now, this is called a lanceolated leaf. It kind of looks like the head of a lance is kind of how I remember that one. Now, you can eat these, and so I'm gonna go ahead and pop this in my mouth. We're gonna see what it tastes like. I'm not gonna promise anything, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Pretty fibrous. Kind of bitter. A little bit of bitterness there on the back end. But that's not terrible. If I'm hanging out on a mountain, making a salad, this is probably gonna go on that salad. Yeah, it was pretty tasty, actually. Not half bad. I'm getting a little bit of that essence that I've tasted in the honey and the jelly that I've tried before. This is a plant that you will see throughout all of Alaska. This is called Devil's Club. Now, it's an interesting plant because parts of it are poisonous and parts of it are edible. So you can actually eat the inner parts of the shoots of Devil's Club. And Devil's Club has been used for medicinal purposes for thousands of years by Alaska natives. The most common use that I'm aware of is they actually make salves for any sort of skin afflictions, rashes. You can actually put it on as antibacterial for cuts, anything like that. But the berries of Devil's Club are actually poisonous, so you do not want to eat these. But it's a very, very interesting plant. If it's one that you bump into when you are cruising through the backcountry, I would avoid it because it's got some pretty gnarly thorns all over the bush, including on the berries. And so this is one that I'd probably just walk around. Bears consume it readily, but I wouldn't eat it if I were you. Hey guys, thanks again for joining me today. Got to explore a little bit more of Alaska, check out some of its flora. I got to eat some of its flora, some good flora, some not so good flora. We got to learn a little bit about the heritage of the plants here in the state, and we got to learn about some poisonous plants that we definitely want to avoid. I hope you guys learned something today. If you like what you saw, please follow us in the link below, and I'll see you guys next time on the Side Trail.